How are you? Where are you out of?
I'm in Chicago.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So I in proper.
Yes, I am
Okay.
in Ukrainian village in Chicago.
I grew up in I was born in East Chicago and I lived in Munster, Indiana for a while.
Oh, okay. That explains your basketball fandom then.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Are we just getting into it though?
Yeah, totally. I feel like we'll
Okay.
we'll get right into it. But yeah, so you grew up in Chicago then.
Yeah, I mean, well, until I was like 10 and
Yeah.
then we moved to Kansas. But I don't know. I feel I grew up pretty fast. I mean, in third grade, I was already buying heavy metal records and watching horror movies.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
it was weird. It was tough, like actually making that move to Kansas.
Yeah. I'm sure going it's a different kind of a scene for sure, but I mean you once you got to Kansas you had a lot of good company, it seems.
Yeah, it took a while.
Yeah.
I sat in my room playing guitar and watching horror movies for about, let's see, sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade, until about sophomore year. So I was pretty depressed for like 4 years. Well, not really. I mean, I just
Sure.
didn't have like a really good friend base until like about end of sophomore year.
Understandable. Yeah.
Watching a lot of Nick at Night, Monster Vision, Joe Bob Briggs, listening to records, playing guitar. And that's probably why I'm kind of like a reclusive person in general. So
Sure. But I mean, hey, Kansas big for college basketball at the very least.
yeah. It's a great high school scene also.
Uh-huh.
It's a great they're obviously college basketball, but I mean, I was coming from like Damon Bailey and Bobby Knight to
Yeah.
Roy Williams, good teams, Paul Pierce and all that.
Mhm.
So
For sure. Yeah.
born a Hoosier, die a Jayhawk.
Yeah, definitely. Um, Usually I like to start talking a little music first.
Yeah,
And one
whatever.
question I like to ask, what are you listening to right now?
Well, gee, um, I am so all over the place.
A lot of people default to old standards, and especially the past few years, totally understandable there.
Well, what's that mean?
Like just what's comfortable. You listen to the stuff you're comfortable with.
Oh
And
no, I'm all over. I like to get uncomfortable. So
oh, nice.
I like to push and like hear. I obviously, yeah, I def love old standards, but I love to find out like a lot of underground hip hop stuff. I've kind of been really into.
Mhm.
I really dove deep during quarantine. Now I've been like, there's this dude, he is super cool. His name's Professor Pickles.
But love the name
And
alone.
yeah, he's amazing. He's doing the art for my new record, the Gemini Parks record. And he is, I just talked to him on the phone for the first time a week ago
Mhm.
about design and art and music. And it just blew my mind. He like, sometimes you meet someone and you're like kind of like running on this like, I don't know, circular path of just kind of doing the same thing. And then you talk to someone and they tell you how they see life or they see ideas or how they see visions of art. And it blew my mind and inspired me and like kind of like just started pushing creative energies again. But he puts out records like only on vinyl.
Mhm.
And they're the most beautiful pieces of art. They're all like super limited and they're all like the kind of compilations, but kind of totally illegal, like, but
Yeah.
like no permission to do it, but he only presses 250 and that's kind of the art
Mhm.
of it as well. And each pressing is each one you get is completely different than the last one.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do with the Gemini Park stuff also. But anyway, so I've been listening to those on repeat. Besides that, a lot of like late 70s, early 80s boogie music.
Mhm.
I was playing some jazz stuff recently. I wake up in the morning and it's like Simpsons or ESPN on mute and then
You're
records
speaking my
playing.
language.
It's like,
I have a Simpsons tattoo.
what is that, Stonecutters?
It sure is.
Hell yeah, I love it. Yeah, that's on almost, but it's normally it goes back and forth. It's sometimes like on mute and then records are playing. I just like I have to have stuff kind of always going
Just
or my
media
mind
always on in the background.
go. Yeah, as
Yeah.
you can see probably already.
I mean, yeah, you're like you mentioned, like, does it look all right? I'm like, yeah, your setup looks awesome right now.
Yeah, it's pretty insane, I guess. Well, I don't think so, but other people come over and say that. So I say it thinking it is when I'm like, oh no, it's normal.
No,
But
it's awesome.
what do you think? What are you listening to at the moment?
um Again, also all over the place. I've been trying to find a lot of newer kind of smaller stuff. I've been listening to this band String Machine.
Mm-hmm.
What I've been listening to. I'm also like I'm going to Pitchfork this weekend, so I've been listening to Lucy Dacus and
Okay, yeah.
I'm catching up on a lot of stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just I I don't binge one or two artists hard. I spread out listening to a ton of stuff. So like when I
Okay.
look at, I have Last FM, so when I look at what I listen to, it's really across the board spread out. There's never like one artist who's like stacked, you know?
Okay, yeah.
So
No.
I'm always kind of like switching it up and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's I like checking out like bands like String Machine, and there's a band called Shelter Heart that's really cool. A lot of
Okay.
really small stuff that through indie basketball I've been able to find, which has been cool.
That's excellent. There's a really cool like sort of underground hip hop artist from, well, there's many from Chicago, but one I found during lockdown goes by I Am God. It's one word, GAWD,
Okay.
but he's super, I think he has some really great stuff. He has one song called with Chicago, what is it from Chicago with Hate. It's a
Okay.
great song.
I'll
He's
definitely
cool.
check that out.
I almost drove up there to see him play live a couple of months ago, but
Oh, nice.
yeah,
Yeah, there was
I've been driving all
another
over.
like kind of more local hip hop artist called Flowers, like L
Mhm.
F
Oh yeah,
L
yeah, yeah.
O
I know that.
F. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's really cool.
yeah.
So those I was listening, I first discovered it like last week, and the beats just like were like blew my mind because they were like
Yeah.
really intense stuff. Yeah, cool. So you mentioned Gemini Parks. I know you did anniversaries for so long. What is the deal with Gemini Parks? Tell us a little bit.
Well, like really, anniversary wasn't so long. It was like, I guess I was thinking about this recently. I was talking, to someone, Ojenko, the drummer. I was just
Mhm.
like, it was such a short run, but it felt like a long time.
Mhm.
But technically, it's like the first record came out in 2000, and then the last record came out in 2002, and then we broke up in 2003. So it
Yeah,
was
that's
like
true.
but we were constantly touring, so it
Mhm.
seemed like it was a really long time.
But you guys kind of came back and did a run, what, 2016?
Yeah, we've been doing just little like,
Yeah.
just it's mainly an excuse to hang out with each
Yeah.
other. Like, it's like it's super excellent that people still dig it, but like, and that's great. So awesome, very appreciative. But
Yeah.
ultimately, it's like, when else would we get a chance? We don't get a chance to hang out
Right.
if not. But yeah, so the new thing's Gemini Parks. It's my new thing. We're releasing the first single, like, you know, uh the end of July, beginning of August, something like
Okay.
that. So it's my main focus.
Would people expect very different than your previous stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. What
Yes.
do you have a hint as to what it might sound like?
Well, I've been
Describing your music, I'm sure, is a tough task.
no, it's one. I mean, it just comes with that. It's just one of the things you got to do.
Yeah.
I've kind of just decided to like, okay, I'm settling with like punk funk because I think Rick James called his music funk punk. So I'm going to say punk funk. It's just and everywhere in between, because I think the first time I told someone, I was like, look, I wanted to make a record with like stuff I would DJ, which is like soul, disco, hip hop, some glam, and some pop. And I've been making these records since then that are more just like basically like format rock and roll songs.
Yeah.
And I don't really listen to that ever, even at home. So that the idea was to make something that I listen to, which is so obvious, but you know, and that is what but when I was describing it to someone, I was like, well, it's a little bit funk, it's a little bit hip hop, it's a little bit pop, and then I would like started feeling like I'm a jam band, like a frat boy jam band, and I was like, I got to come up with some sort of name for this.
Sure. I
Punk
mean,
funk.
what you're describing kind of makes me immediately think of, I don't know if you've listened to Salt.
I have every one of their records and every variant on vinyl of their records.
Big fan of Salt. Super cool.
It's probably like, I mean, there's elements of that. There's elements of like, since I'm like a white dude with like samples and beats, there's an element of Beck.
Okay.
There's, Gnarls Barkley, there's like elements, there's just, I don't know what else, like a lot of old influences as well. But the point is I never want to do something that's like try to sound like something that's been done.
Sure.
I think, but it's like I love the sounds and I love the way things were done. So you take that influence, for me, I take that influence, but also utilize like the technology that you have now. So that's kind of what I was trying to do. So it sounds like kind of like a little analog, but there's like some new elements of, things that using some different things that I've never used on a record. And it's fun to experiment and explore with that stuff.
Cool. Yeah. You had me at punk funk.
Punk funk it is. There's some slap bass on it.
Yeah. I can't wait to hear it, man.
Yeah.
So first off, I did notice, what is that shirt you got going on? Okay.
So one of my favorite players of recent years, she was great in college. It's her first year on Indiana Fever. Destiny Henderson. This is her brand. It's called Anything's Possible.
Oh, that's amazing.
She's a rookie this year.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see how she does. She's one of I just love her. Like I loved her when she played in college. She's gotten some playing time. She's doing pretty good. She's a dope player.
Yeah. We have a Discord for indie basketball, and a bunch of us did a WNBA fantasy league because this is the first year they did that.
I want in on that.
Dude, it's made me learn so much about the W, and like so many players. Like Ryan Howard is so awesome.
Yeah,
like, she's so good.
Yeah,
there's a lot of really good players, and
every player's good. There's really not a bad player.
Right. Yeah, totally. It's been really cool to kind of discover a lot of new players and stuff. And
I like college women's more.
Yeah,
but I do like WNBA a whole lot. I bought the package this year.
Oh yeah.
I want in on that fantasy next year.
Yeah, dude. Next year, I want to make this a thing every year for sure.
More games next year, possibly also.
That would be great. And I don't know if there is if expansion. That probably won't happen next year, but expansion possibly would happen.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. And on shirts you sent me, you got some merch for basketball courts. What is that?
Oh yeah, so that's like my off brand of Gemini Parks.
Okay.
And I haven't really launched it totally yet, but
it's down the
what was that?
Spoilers.
No, we got to. I want to start talking about it. You come up with the brand before you come up with the whole
for sure
launch, I think. So yeah, basketball courts, as in the stone. And it's just gonna be a brand, a clothing brand, and also I like filmed stuff throughout like my entire high school career. Like I was always filming with like a 8mm.
I saw you posted some highlights from high school.
Oh man. Yeah, I posted that. That was a good move.
Yeah, it was.
So I have some like basketball stuff, I have funny stuff. So I'm just gonna edit like little short clips together, and that's gonna be a part of it also.
Dude, that's awesome.
People like that kind of content.
That shirt looked awesome. I need to get one.
Yeah, she has a whole brand. Anything's possible. That's why I wore it specifically for the show today.
Very cool, man.
To promote it, because she's great.
Yeah, there's lots of basketball related, because even the anniversary had some awesome basketball related merch.
Yeah. Well, we played, LA and Boston, so
Yeah,
kind of had to, I don't know.
for
It's
sure.
it was kind of a questionable move, really, because you're kind of like being like, okay, I flew from out of town and I don't like basketball or the Lakers.
Right.
So that's your only design?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, no, it's a cool look, man. Um, but yeah, let's talk a little more basketball. And you said that so you grew up in Chicago, you grew up a Bulls fan then.
Yeah. A Bulls and a Bullets fan. And then also 76ers.
Okay. Explanation.
Well, all my extended family lives in Baltimore, Washington.
Mhm.
So, and we would always go there at least 2 times a year. And my uncle would always take me, usually during Christmas, and he would always take me to a Bullets game.
Sure.
First time I saw the Bullets play, they played 76ers with Barkley, and I fell in love with Barkley.
Hell yeah.
And he has basically, I mean, obviously Jordan, because I saw Jordan play, I think 6 times.
I mean, you're very lucky in that regard.
Oh yeah, definitely. The funniest part is I saw him play the Bullets, and I had my camera with me, and I was taking all these photos, and then I got home and there's no film in the camera.
Oh,
That's happened to me twice in like moments like
God.
that. Once that, and then the other, the drummer from Iron Maiden came and saw the anniversary play for some reason in
Oh shit.
Florida. I got my photo
Okay.
with him, and then I was no film. Digital cameras. Yeah. We didn't have those then, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the reason I liked those teams,
Okay, cool.
Manute Bull, Hersey
Yeah, yeah.
Hawkins.
Do
Yeah,
you
those
are you still kind of equally into, I mean, are you into the Wizards now?
not as much. I
Yeah.
think I think Bradley Beal's super cool. I like Denny. I hope he does better. Let's see who else is on that team now.
It's it's a tough team right now.
Rui, I think he's still on the
Rui's
team.
cool. Yeah, he's on there.
Yeah. So I mean, I like him. I just, you don't ever get to see him play on TV here, though.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Bradley Beal just locked down
Yeah, I think
that
that's
contract.
a cool move.
Huge.
I like the whole players staying.
Absolutely.
Damian Lillard vibes.
Yes.
But yeah, Barkley's the best. The worst part about the NBA is when it gets to the finals and then all of a sudden the TNT crew isn't there anymore.
I know.
It's like I will tune in to just halftime sometimes if I don't have time to watch the full game on Tuesdays or Thursdays,
right,
depending on when they're doing it now.
I would gladly like watch the game, but if they did like radio, I would gladly just listen to that and mute the game.
That would be the best.
That'd be amazing.
It's the best crew ever. I mean, yes. I don't know how.
I mean, they changed. Honestly, they changed the game. Like that crew like got so many people into basketball again.
100%. I mean, it's the funniest, most intelligent. It's just the characteristics of each person.
They all have such a dynamic. Yeah, it's amazing.
I love it.
Shaq and Charles, they're kind of on the opposite ends of the spectrum, and they're always kind of button heads. Ernie's the median.
Yeah, Kenny's just kind of like
Kenny's a wild card.
Yeah, Kenny's a wild card. No, it's best when like Kenny or Charles and Shaq team up on Kenny. Like that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So
there's lots of antics. It's so fun to watch for sure. So how'd you feel about the Bulls run? And how do you feel, I guess, going into next year?
I thought, it's funny because it was like Caruso. I like him. I just like players. There's very few players I don't like.
Yeah.
There's one player I don't like right now, and that's Grayson Allen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But also I didn't like him at Duke. But then when he came into the league and started doing good, I was like, good for him. And then he does Caruso wrong, and then I was like, oh, that's I gave you that.
You're back on my list.
Yeah. But that's kind of how I felt about like Lonzo Ball and Caruso in LA. I just couldn't stand them there. Yeah. And then they came to the Bulls, and I'm like, all right, that's why you just.
To be fair though, I feel like Lonzo kind of had a shift in his perspective.
I do too. I do
And
too.
I feel like once he came into LA thinking he was the shit,
Yeah.
and he kind of adjusted, and now he's like taken on more of a role player with the Bulls, and it's been
Yeah,
awesome.
I thought the Bulls did great. I mean, they had so many injuries.
Mhm.
They need a really good big man.
Well, they got. I'm not going to say Drummond is a really good big man, but they got Drummond, which will help.
Drummond can't. I don't know. He's just. Yeah, he'll help, but
He'll
like
get
they need.
rebounds.
Yeah, but I don't. He doesn't play fast
Agreed.
enough. He doesn't get up and down the court as fast as they need someone. They need like a Pau Gasol style player.
Like in a
You
perfect
know,
world, like Miles Turner would be perfect.
Miles Turner would be that exact. I said that to a buddy a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that
But
would
they
be
just,
great.
I mean, like I was saying this all last year during the deadline. Like I will happily give up Kobe White if it can get us Miles Turner.
Oh, well, there's so many guards right now.
Yeah.
That
Well, especially now that they signed Dragic.
Dragic. I think they're going to get rid of Kobe White, and yeah, probably just him. I think they have to. I mean, there's
I
too
mean,
much.
Dosunmu is exciting, and I honestly think he'll start this year.
Yeah, I hope he does. I like him a lot more than I, Illinois. I was just like, I don't know, but
Yeah.
then he went to the Bulls and perspective changed, and
Mm-hmm.
I do like him a lot. But yeah, they need they have like what 7 guards or
Yeah.
6 guards.
I
It's
don't
like
think what
crazy.
they've done so far is enough, especially because like, you know, seeing what they did in the playoffs and how they got out, and then watching like the Celtics in the finals, and like we couldn't even do that, you know.
I mean, Atlanta's going to be better.
Yeah.
It's Milwaukee's going to be better. 76ers are going to be better. It's just they're not going to. Indiana's going to be better.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cool that they're making they'll probably make the playoffs barely again, but they still don't have enough.
Yeah.
And especially with like one person gets injured, and that's that.
Yeah, that's what got us last year too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am hoping for the best. I still don't think they're there yet though.
Agreed. Gonna be a while.
Yeah, for sure. So you said you're also in the college women, so like you kind of ranked them out for me. You like
Oh, yeah.
women's college.
I like NBA probably the best.
Yeah.
And then women's college basketball. Once it gets down, a lot of, if I like say that and then someone tunes into a game and it's like UConn versus like Johnson County Community College, you know, it's like 90-10. Right. What are you talking about? But when you get like South Carolina versus UConn, or Notre Dame versus, you know, North Dakota State or North Carolina State, the games are just phenomenal. Once it gets down to Sweet 16 in women's college and the tournament, it's the best basketball. If you like basketball and you don't like that, you don't like basketball, in my opinion. It's the best. All the games are competitive and great. You know, guys, it's I mean, the tournament's so, I don't know, it just doesn't do it for me much anymore.
I hear you. I feel like women's basketball, college basketball is more like the show, whereas men's college basketball is like, I'm just trying to get to the NBA.
Yeah, it's I don't know, but it's also just the reffing is 5 times worse also. And I just don't want to watch. It's like watching Summer League. I've been watching Summer League. I watch almost every game, and it's like the refs are also trying to prove a point because they're trying out.
You mean like ref Richard Jefferson?
Richard Jefferson. Yeah, that was awesome to watch though.
It was.
He was like so
botched
nervous.
His first call.
It's like yeah, it actually is really hard. But again, you know, so it's just watching free throws a lot,
right?
And that's what, and it just like, I don't know. I'm you know, people are like, well, they should have made, you know, a game, and you're like, oh, the refs really, it's like, well, they should have made their free throws. It was like, yeah, the refs shouldn't have called that. Every play is every play. There's no like should have or this or should have that. It's one, each play is its own play. Whether it's a call, a missed free throw, a turnover, missed rebound, so I don't know. That's my problem with college men's basketball. It's horribly reffed.
Mhm.
It is all the transfer stuff, all even what you said. It's like there's a bit of that, and I don't know. So I like it. I'll watch any basketball if there's like kids playing on the
Yeah.
street, anyone playing in a park. I'll sit and watch it if
G
I'm like
League?
there. I'll watch any basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely G League. I'll watch the 3-on-3 stuff. I'll watch anything if it's on and I like have time.
Definitely. I'll definitely catch myself watching the TBT highlights.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Watch those best college basketball players who never made the NBA.
I'm into it.
Yeah, it's great.
I'll watch it. I'll watch anything.
So do I have this right? You also coached basketball.
I did, yeah.
How did that come about?
Well, I mean, a couple ways. One, I feel like the only things, I don't know, like I'm into so many different things, but like truly, I think like music and basketball are just passions. And I feel like I know about those are things I totally know about. I do graphic design, I do video editing, I do like a lot of other things, but like someone like a graphic designer could be like, oh, do you know? And I'd be like, I have no idea, but I do
Right.
it, but like a basketball coach could be like, oh, we got to run 2 minutes, I'd be like, got it, or like musicians, like, we're going to play this in A, and it's like, got it. So those two things I like totally get for the most part. And I was coached very horribly my freshman year in high school. And it kind of ruined me for a long time. And I always had that in my head of just like, I could go coach basketball. It's like, as I got older, I was like, I could coach basketball and do it the right way, not that there's totally a right way, but like there's a right way from how it was handled when I was a freshman. And so anniversary broke up, started this band called The Only Children. The Only Children did this US tour. I didn't want to piggyback on the anniversary, which was dumb. I should have. It was the worst, probably it was a really fun tour, but worst tour as far as like making money, bus breaking down, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
No flyers in any town for the show. And then I moved to Canada, and then I wrote another Only Children record, moved back to Kansas, put that out. And that, though we had like a lot of great tours, like support tours, like opening for like Meat Puppets, Portugal the Man, just a lot of great stuff happening. I had gotten married, had a child, and the anxiety of being on the road with that going on at home, I was like, I need to be home. So I kind of was like, I'm burnt on music. What else can I do?
Yeah.
And I was in a store and I ran into a teacher from high school. And so we started talking. I was like, any basketball job openings? And she was like, actually, there is. And I was like, really? She's like, yeah, come in. Coach Thomas is the head coach. And I was like, oh, okay. And that was my coach.
Yeah.
Not the horrible experience.
Okay.
But before then, he's an amazing person, Coach Ken Thomas. Absolutely, to this day, still a friend, still amazing.
Awesome.
And so I went and I interviewed for the job, and it was between me and another person. I don't know how familiar you are with like Kansas City basketball, but these guys were, a few of them, the Rush brothers, Jerron Rush, Brandon Rush.
Rush, yeah.
So it was Jerron Rush, who was like UCLA, I think UCLA or UNLV. I think it was. Anyways, he got into a lot of trouble with the law. He was like he was the oldest one.
Okay.
And he was like first round, then got in trouble. And then it was like so it was me versus him, and I got the job, but probably because I didn't have a criminal record, not because of my basketball knowledge.
Sure.
And then I coached high school. It was girls basketball, and I started at the freshman B. Next year I was freshman A, and then I moved to JV varsity assistant, and I did it for 7 years.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, and I had a couple. I mean, I had the opportunity to work on the guys' side also,
Mhm.
and I coached a lot of the guys during the summer because there was a time in Kansas you couldn't coach your team, your like the during summer during a certain period. So I got to coach a lot of really good players. There's actually a kid playing right now in the Sacramento Kings. I gave private lessons to. He'll be like the last player. I'm looking
Shit.
over there because I'm
Yeah.
watching. That I coached. I gave him private lessons. His name's Jariah Horn.
Okay.
And he got picked up for summer league. I don't think he'll make the cut, but I think he'll go G League, and I think he has a chance to do some good stuff.
I mean, that's awesome, man.
Not that like what I taught him was got him there. He got him there himself, but it's cool to have been part of a process of that
Absolutely.
sort. Got to work with some of the kids from Loyola, what was her name? Mary, who made that deep run, Chicago Loyola
Yeah.
in the tournament.
I remember March Madness. There was like the kind of the nun or whatever.
Sister Mary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Clayton Custer, Ben Richards, worked with them. They went
Mhm.
to the school I was at. And then went Florida Gulf Coast, made their run a few years before that. I worked with the Brett Comer kid a little bit. So
Cool.
yeah, it was, I can see myself going back and doing that again eventually.
Yeah.
I loved it so much. It was great. But it was like all of a sudden after 7 years, I was just like, you can't, I can't, the energy of music and
Yeah.
writing, just like it was like came up.
Yeah. And I'm sure a little hard to maintain both.
Oh, it was like I just was burnt out on it. I mean,
Yeah.
I went from like wearing leather pants and like cut off sleeve shirts to like polo and khakis coaching basketball, and then
Holding the clipboard.
something I was like, what am I doing? I was like, I love basketball. I gotta look this way, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's safe to say that no one I've had on this podcast actually has experience coaching. So that is very cool, man.
Yeah, that's like the thing. It's like I was when doing it, it was almost 365 days a year because I was coaching AAU in the summertime, boys in the summertime. Then you have workouts, you have summer league, you have it's constantly going. It's if you're super involved. We were 6A, so that was like that's the high tier. So you got to keep going, or else you're going to lose your job. And so, a lot of times you're like at a bar somewhere and like you're with like rock and roll dudes or whatever, and they start trying to talk, well, this guy needs to do this. And it's like one of those things where it's like, what? It was like, if you're not in that circle, you don't know. And that's actually, I don't know. I kind of get I don't say anything ever, but they're like, I was like, I'll say like, no, what needs to happen is just like, no, that's not. I was like, how long did you coach? Like,
Yeah, right.
I did it 7 years, almost 365 days a year. It's like,
Right.
what? You're just playing C and G chords. I know that sounds dick, but
no,
it gets annoying sometimes where it's just like, yeah.
I mean, I always find myself, I'm a big baseball fan too. So I'll find myself at games overhearing people say what they should or shouldn't do. And I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, you have no idea what you're talking about.
No idea, because it's like, it's honestly what's in that circle.
Yeah.
It's like, but we all do it. I do it too.
Yeah.
I'm like, KU this year, I'm like, man, McCormick, don't be a black hole. Kick the ball out. Don't hold it on the block and fake 3 times and then get blocked. But if I'm saying it, it's being said to him by like, I'm Joe Schmo.
For sure.
Like, KU has the best coaches in the world. They're telling them that. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't want them to do that. What does it matter? They won the national championship. They knew exactly what they were doing. So
yeah, for sure. That's cool, man. That's a lot of people will, especially that I have on this podcast, musicians who kind of like used to play, don't really play anymore, but like they still have the love of the game. But you clearly still have the kind of the game really infused with you.
Oh, I still
do you still play?
Oh yeah, I play every Sunday.
Awesome.
I was playing during the week a few months back, like just going to the rec center, and like during spring break it was super fun because it was all the high school kids and playing
Mhm.
against them. And yeah, I have to play. I have to. I still like, I have like on my bed, it's like I have an acoustic guitar and I have a pad of paper where like I'll still write down plays that,
Ugh,
like if I
amazing.
could think of like some sort of out of bounds play or sideline out of bounds play, I'll write it down and be like, because I still talk to my friends who coach and stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
and like, hey, what about this idea, or like, what about this?
Mhm.
And my brother-in-law coaches college football, so we talk coaching philosophies often
Mhm.
on vacations and stuff. And I love it. I love being competitive. I love trying to make yourself better. I like trying to help other people. I like, so
Yeah,
definitely would enjoy doing it again one day.
definitely. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Julian Casablancas from the Strokes. There's a bunch of, they do like a indie rock kind of basketball tournament. I feel like you should be coaching that, dude.
Are you what? Stop. I should be
Yes,
playing it.
you will, absolutely, but like you
I'm
have
not.
the knowledge.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna play though. Like,
Oh, of course,
who those
player
guys
coach.
play?
You're LeBron
Those
James.
guys play?
I don't know how often they do it, but they have done it in the past. Like Justin Vernon from Bon Iver, Julian Casablancas, Albert Hammond
I want
Jr.
in on this right now.
I don't know if they still do it, but I know it happened in the past for sure.
I'll be at all of them.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people I talk with, they still play. Like Nick Thorburn from Islands, he plays. Lots of people still playing. It's
Bring
good to
it.
see. Got
Bring it.
I maybe that's what I need to be doing, is I need to orchestrate the musician basketball tournament.
Would love it.
Gotta
I'm
have
there.
Cool. So the last thing I want to do is I mentioned this when I emailed you, is do a little game. I don't know if you're down.
Yeah, totally.
It's kind of the idea that we want to build a band out of players.
Right.
So you kind of list whatever player you think would be what instrument, what's the sound of the band, kind of craft that all together.
I like totally looked at, okay, so first off, I think when you first said it, I made a list.
Yeah.
But the way I read it was, you're forming a band out of musicians who are going to be a basketball team.
Okay.
But what you meant was basketball players that are going to be a band.
Correct.
So what I made both.
Oh, well, fantastic.
So
let's start with
which one?
If the basketball players were in a band.
If the basketball players were in a band. Okay. So obviously Kevin Garnett on drums.
Yes. I think actually I've done this before. Someone else said Kevin Garnett on drums as well. He just does have that energy.
Yeah. He's the most intense person. Like, it's going to be like a steady beat, somewhat behind the beat a little bit too.
There's some intensity too.
He's going to have his head down like this, eyes up, just like, so I have Maya Moore on guitar.
Love that. Yes.
And I also want her to be the lyricist for the band.
Okay.
And then on the other guitar, and there's no differential between lead and rhythm, they're both the same. They'll figure it out. Pistol Pete.
Ooh.
I think
this is very generational.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Pistol Pete is such a, he's going to study it and like just do it every day. But there's also this like sloppiness also, where it's just like, I'm going to get out there and I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe I'm going to go up here. Maybe I'm going to go. And that's what I love about music.
Yeah.
He's
totally like a nerd about like guitars too.
Yeah.
You could tell.
Exactly. Then I'm going to have Destiny Henderson
represent
on vocals, because I think she's just a badass. I like her personality. I like her style. And then obviously Charles Barkley on the bass.
Yes. I mean, there's no instrument other instrument you could play.
No. And then you like also kind of think, well, no, I guess this would be for my next one. So this can't be for this one. But yeah, it's what kind of band is that? It's kind of like Gemini Parks. They're kind of ripping off Gemini Parks. So it's like punk funk.
It's punk funk.
Yeah.
Word of the day. Yes, absolutely. That's amazing. You really, yeah, you got the spectrum. You got some W players, you got some legends, you got some current players.
Oh,
Well, actually,
definitely.
all legends. I don't think you don't really have any current players in there.
Oh yeah, I didn't.
But
Man.
you had the W players who are current players. So
I'll put let's see. We'll put
you can add an extra instrument, maybe some
yeah, maybe some congas.
some keys or something, or
We'll maybe put Trey Young on congas.
there you go. Amazing. You got a name?
No.
Yeah, that's too tough.
Hold on. I could think of one. I just need a couple.
I know
Yeah.
you got a backlog of band names somewhere.
I do. Oh my God. Hold on. I do. I have one note thing that's all band names. They're all horrible. Let's see. All right. We'll call him 92 DT.
Perfect.
92 Dream Team.
That yes. And that does have a 92 DT is like definitely like an intense kind of punk funk sound to it.
Yeah. And it stands for basketball also.
Love it.
But
so what's the inverse?
The inverse. All right. So at the point guard, Curtis Blow, because he has the basketball song. Yes. All right. And I don't know. I've like kind of like, he might not, you could watch that video and be like, he's not really balling in this video. So then I'd probably throw like Lil Durk because he's actually a player,
Absolutely.
Short. So he's a point guard. Number 2, this is musicians that you pick playing basketball. This is the inverse. Me, I'm 2.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I pick myself? I want to play. Yeah. I always want to play. Like there's no like, I just want to play basketball all day long.
You're the 2. You're going to shoot it.
I'm the 2. I'm going to shoot. I'm going to shoot all day long. If I'm missing or making it, it's going up. Number 3, Queen Latifah. She led her team to 2 state championships.
Well, so this is factual. She is a good basketball.
She's a player. Yeah.
She was in that Super Nintendo game.
The Sandler movie too.
But she was in a video game where rappers play basketball.
Oh, she was?
Yeah, there was like a Super Nintendo game or something with like Coolio and LL Cool J and a bunch of
No way.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I didn't know that. But she's Sandler's wife in that new
yes
Netflix film.
Great movie. I loved it.
It was good. Yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, and now we're gonna get a little goofy.
Okay.
At the 4, Gene Simmons.
Okay.
Because it'd be freaky driving the lane, and he's like 6'2", but he wore 6-inch heels. Probably can't get up and down the court very well. We're not going to be great. That's fine. But so he'd be 6'8" with the heels on, and like that would be like no one wants to drive the lane on the Demon.
He's got a little bit of that KG kind of defensive prowess and intensity.
Exactly.
Yeah,
he might have the fire. 5. This could be controversial. Shaq put out a couple of very good albums. Shaq Diesel is a great album. And like sometimes I'll tell people that, they'll be like, ha, ha, ha. But this is the way you trick them. You just put on Shaq, that album. You got to start at number 2 because the first song's an intro of him getting picked first in the NBA draft. And you start playing it and people are like, whoa, what is this? They're like into it. And then you're like, oh, it's Shaq. And they're like, oh.
Yeah, well.
Okay.
Now we're screwed.
Yeah, but it's great. I mean, they have Fushnikins on the record. That first record's so great. Shaq Fu's pretty good too.
Yeah. And you get into dangerous territory when you get basketball players who rap too.
I know that's true. But then like after that, it'd be like MCA, Ad Rock, or Billy Corgan. Because supposedly on that tour, that Lollapalooza tour, when Beastie Boys brought their own basketball goal, which Anniversary used to also do Billy Corgan was dunking.
Shit.
Yeah, I didn't know either. But after I found that out, I was like, he might be a good musician to have on the
That's a deep bench.
Back then, yeah.
Yeah.
Ad Rock was a good player, MCA was.
And now Billy Corgan is running wrestling federations,
Yeah. No. I want prime Billy Corgan on my basketball
team. Billy Corgan.
Dunking.
I really appreciate that you went both ways with this. That's amazing.
That's how I saw it first. I was like, oh wow, yeah, that's intriguing. I was like, who would I do for musicians on a basketball team?
Well, we won't do this one, but the other game I typically play too is kind of coming up with players and being, what do they sound like? So that's the other thing. Like,
What do you mean? What do they
like
sound like?
as a player? So like, for example, Chet Holmgren. Like what band is Chet Holmgren?
Oh gosh. You know, like I think he really wants to be like Kendrick Lamar, but I think deep down he's like Jethro Tull.
I love
You
it.
know, I wanted give me a couple more. I like that.
Oh, okay. We'll keep the rookie class then.
Oh boy.
Let's go. We'll just Paulo Banquero.
Paulo Banquero. He probably likes J. Cole.
You know what though? I'm gonna go because of his Italian background. I'm gonna go with Settlefish.
Oh, all right. Italian background. Oh, that could go very deep.
Yeah. Jalen Smith. It gets tough there.
It does. It gets tough with me with the rookies because I haven't seen a lot of them play a whole lot.
How about we go into the W, and you mentioned, what does Maya Moore sound like as a player?
Maya Moore. Oh, she's like Alice Coltrane.
Ooh, love that.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. Then the other W player you mentioned, Destiny.
Destiny. She's like, I mean, this Backwoods Sweetie. She's like Backwoods Sweetie, who you should check out.
Okay.
Or she's like Fuji's, or she's also like kind of like Rage Against the Machine also.
Hell yeah. Rage Against the Machine, that feels right.
That feels right. Yeah, she brings it. But Backwoods Sweetie brings it too.
I gotta check that.
Yeah, check her out. She has this really dope song called Black Betty. That's great on her record. She actually is on a Gemini Parks song also.
Oh, sweet.
Coming out. Yeah. Her and JR, this other rapper from North Carolina. He's a good basketball player. He played in college. He's a very good basketball player.
Awesome.
He's a great rapper though also.
I'm very excited for Gemini Parks. You got me hooked.
Thanks. Thank you.
Well, cool, man. Thanks for indulging me in those. You got all 3 games in one.
Yeah, this has been great. It's
Yeah.
so fun. I mean, I told someone and they're like, oh, I'm doing a podcast tonight. They're like, about what? So it's called Indie Basketball. And they're like, that is your podcast.
Yes.
Do
you run this podcast?
I was like, yep, that's it. I was like, hopefully we don't talk about music. No, I'm just kidding. I was like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Basketball all day long.
Oh, yeah. Thanks again for joining me. This has been a lot.
Thank you.